There we go. We're on. Hello, hello. I'm Teacher Oakley. Welcome to Verbling. For the next hour, we are going to be looking at the quite often confusing and complex area of English grammar known as gerunds and infinitives. Today we'll be talking about starting with a little bit more basic material, not that any of it's fantastically easy, but in 2 days from now at the same time slot here, we're going to be looking at more advanced ideas about dealing with gerunds and infinitives. The problem is, of course, when to use to and the verb or the ing or gerund form of the verb. Many cases you can use either. I like to swim, I like swimming. After the verb like, I can use either one, and it's not a problem. The issue is the fact that some verbs, main verbs, the main issue here is that main verbs, some of them take or they co-locate with either gerunds or infinitives. Some only co-locate with infinitives. Some only co-locate with gerunds, and that's the big issue here. Let's see if we can kind of sort out today some general rules about when to use either or both. Okay, that's the mission. Michael, welcome to the class. Hello, hello.
Hello.
How are you? I'm good.
Doing well, thanks.
Great. And no static, no background, no feedback.
But
Nice.
it's nice, but I have a big noise here because I'm walking at the same time that I'm speaking with you. Yes, and
okay.
that's usually I stay in my bike. We have one of these static bike, have
Stationary.
stationary bike,
Yeah.
and I have a treadmill too.
Yeah, I know. You told me that.
Most of the time when I in your classes, I'm in the stationary bike, but now I'm walking in the treadmill, and it has a bigger noise because the bike doesn't have any noise, but the treadmill, yes. But it's good to know that you don't have any noise. Okay.
I've really got to figure out how to do this myself. Yeah, I remember we talked about this idea. It's really such a great idea for myself. I spend so much time sitting here.
Yeah, and I think that most of us, we have the same problem. We don't have enough time to do a lot of things. So
I don't know.
I try to do two different things at the same time.
Yeah, multitasking.
Yes.
Multitasking. Oh, well, there I am using a gerund, multitasking. Okay.
I don't know if there is the same expression in English, but here we say that only women can do two different things at the same time. No men.
That's funny.
Yes.
That reminds me. It just reminded me of something. Totally not the same, but kind of. It just reminded me, so I'll share it with you. On my grandmother's wall at her house, in her kitchen, where we would commonly eat pie and have coffee and donuts and whatever, eat lunch, whatever. I remember on the wall there was a plaque that said, "Women's faults are many, but men have only two: everything they say and everything they do.
And this was something that you can't that it was in the kitchen wall.
Of my grandmother's house, I can picture it. I can picture it in my mind perfectly clearly. It was like needlepoint. It was stitched in, and I'll never forget it as long as I
So
live.
so maybe your grandmother was one of the first feminists in the world.
Maybe she certainly didn't take any. She didn't take any garbage from my grandfather. That's for certain. I'll tell you that. Absolutely, I can guarantee that one. All right. Anyway, yeah. All right. So another idiom. Okay, you're killing two birds with one stone. All
Kill
right.
to okay. Kill oh yeah, it's the in Spanish it's the same expression.
Is it?
Killing yes.
Okay.
Killing
Cool.
two birds.
Okay. All right. Well, it's time to get to work. Plenty of room in the class if others would like to join us. We're actually kind of just starting now. But here we go. Gerunds and infinitives. When to use them. All right. Let's do this. There's a lot of material here. And again, I'm spreading this material out today and 2 days from now at this same time slot. I'll do another class with this and take it another step. But here we go. A gerund is a noun made from a verb by adding ing. It is a noun. Okay, it functions as a noun. Keep that in mind. You can use a gerund as the subject of a sentence. The subject does the action. A complement, as in perhaps a prepositional phrase, is an example of a complement, or as the object noun. So basically, to make it simple, anywhere you use a noun. Okay. For example, reading helps you learn English. It's the subject of the sentence. Her favorite hobby is reading. Okay, well, uh, okay, I guess that's a complement of a sentence. It looks kind of like an object to me, but I enjoy reading is clearly an object of the sentence. Gerunds can always be negative. You can add not. For example, he enjoys not working. Okay, terrific. The best thing for your health is not smoking. Okay. Uh, okay. So there you go. A gerund can be used in any of those positions. Two, infinitives are the to form of the verb, the base form of the verb plus to. The infinitive form of learn is to learn. Same deal. You can also use the infinitive as the subject, a complement, or an object. Please note that there is something called a bare infinitive. What that means is that the infinitive, it is the infinitive. It's hard to see because there is no to, no to involved. An example is when we use modals like might, must, could, would, should. We need to use bare infinitives. I must go. The verb to go here is the infinitive verb to go. That's what it is, but it's a bare infinitive. There is no to. All right, and that's the case for all modal verbs or modal auxiliary verbs. We cannot have to after. Now, there are some modal verbs that are phrasal, like have to, or had to, past tense, or need to show obligation. Obviously, these include to, so the to is there. I need to go. I have to go. Obviously, the to is already there, but the to is considered more or less as part of the modal itself rather than part of the infinitive. Either way, it's there. Okay. All right. Examples of infinitives as the subject. To learn is important. Complement, the most important thing is to learn. He wants to learn. Objects. Okay. All right, Michael, what is, do you
Yes.
notice any difference between the subject of the sentence, to learn is important, and when we used it with a gerund as a subject? Reading helps you learn English. Do you, can you, why would
One
you
difference
choose one or the other, do you think? Any idea? Guess?
in this example, I think that
Well,
we can use both, but I don't know why.
that's true. We can.
Yes, when to use one on the other.
Right. So why would you say to learn is important or learning is
Learning
important?
is important.
Yeah, right. You can use it either. And, and in most cases, as the subject of the sentence, because it's not working off another verb, you can use either. All
I
right.
was I was I was thinking about one example now. This sentence. Um Sitting is the new smoking. So in this
Okay.
case, in
Yeah.
this case, in this case, I think that we can't use to sit is the new to smoke. No, it's
It
not
doesn't really
correct.
make sense, does
No.
it? Uh, okay. But in some cases, we can. Let me see. Hang on. Coming up with another expression here. To live is to learn. Ah, aha. Now I've come up with one where I use infinitives. Uh-huh. Why? Okay. Well, in this case, I can actually give you an explanation,
Okay.
which is more than I can say for maybe the rest of the lesson. Okay. All right. In this case, as the subject of the sentence, you can always use either one. The infinitive is always more formal. It even sounds more formal. To learn is important, as opposed to learning is important. The gerund is more conversational and informal. You would tend to use it when having a conversation with your friends or family or coworkers. You would tend to use a gerund first. You would tend to use an infinitive in academic writing or very formal writing, um, possibly in very formal speech, like giving a speech, for example. Which is why you will often see, you sometimes see the infinitive form in things like parables and expressions and quotes. To err is human, to forgive divine. Quite formal. Um, all right. To live is to learn. It's quite formal. All right. Your example, um, sitting is the new smoking. All right. That's a very informal, colloquial, kind of conversational kind of expression. Okay.
But in a formal context, we can you can do to sit is the no is doesn't work. No.
It doesn't work. And why doesn't it work? It doesn't work because, well, why doesn't it work? The to sit is, well, you can use it. To sit is to whatever. To sit is the new. Uh, no, okay. Sitting is the new smoking. To sit is the new to smoke. Oh, to sit is the new smoke. No, you have to use a gerund, don't you? Oh my god. All right. It's very tricky, gerunds and infinitives. I am not sure why. I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to think that one through. Usually, the problem would be, or let's see if we can figure it out in the course of the lesson. Normally, the problem is because you're following a main verb, but clearly after the verb to be, I can use to learn. obviously I can use either. I have examples here. Is reading, is to learn, whatever. Clearly, I can use either. So that's not the issue here. It's weird though. The the building is the difficult part. So it's not has nothing to do with the article the that we're using. The only thing I can think of is new. Why does new make it impossible? Is the new? Hmm. Yeah, I can't do it with anything. Is the new to whatever does not work. To verb does not work. Has something to do with new.
Because new is an adjective, and we can
Yeah.
put after an adjective we can put an infinitive.
Uh. Yeah. No, you can't. To. Yeah. Why
And
not?
in this, and
I
in
guess
this
not.
case, using a gerund is like using a noun. Is the new smoking is so. This
Yeah.
is maybe no, this is the reason because there is an adjective there.
I guess so. I guess that has to
Yeah.
be it. That's it. All right. Well, see, this is the problem with gerunds and infinitives. It's like a puzzle sometimes. Which one do I need to use? And then you have to do a puzzle to figure it out. Yeah. All right. Usually I have to tell you, and here, now that we've demonstrated the difficulty, I have to tell you that most native speakers never consider it. It's all a matter of actually just collocation or colloquial speech. What sounds normal is what we say. We don't actually even learn about this, when we're in school, taking English classes in school. I never remember any class ever that talked about infinitives versus gerunds. You just say what you've heard 1,000 times.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think that sometimes it's a longer way, but it's a more natural way to learn
Mm,
languages.
it's a good point. Yeah.
Uh, so I think I know that sometimes it takes more a longer time to learn languages in this way
Yeah.
without using any rule
Right.
grammatical or without focusing in
Right.
grammatical rules. But
Yeah.
some,
But sometimes it's good to learn that way, and sometimes it's depends on what you're learning, and gerunds and infinitives, frankly, or something like articles is another good example. These two aspects of grammar are fraught with, they're loaded with special cases and exceptions. And so trying to study the rules is more complicated than actually just using hit or miss experience. You know,
okay, okay.
you know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
yes, yes.
But we're here now, Michael, you and me, so we're going to try it anyway. All right.
Okay.
We're going to plow on. All right, it's obviously obvious perfectly normal to use negatives with infinitives as well. I decided not to go. The most important thing is not to give up. Um, you frequently might see never. The most important thing is never to give up. Okay. Uh, okay. Okay. And as I just talked about, as the subject, especially the subject or complements, gerunds usually sound more like normal spoken English, and infinitives sound more abstract and thus more formal. Um, gerunds would be more common when you have a choice, like in the subject, the first noun of a sentence. It Again, it would be more natural. It sounds more natural to use a gerund. Okay, now here is a very important point where in cases where you actually have a choice, and as well as subject nouns, but also object nouns. This is very important. Actually, this is one of the key things to understand. Infinitives emphasize the possibility or the potential, the conceptual the abstract concept of a thing, and the potential of doing it. All right. Um, whereas gerunds actually are more focused on the physical rather than the abstract, the physical idea of doing it. So, in other words, when I say I like to swim, I like the whole swim thing as a concept, the possibility and the abstract idea of floating and moving in the water, if you will. When I say I like swimming, I'm basically remembering going swimming, I'm actually talking about the physical, the whole physical idea of it, getting good exercise and the memories that gives me of swimming at my cousin's house, whatever. I'm actually thinking about the physicality of the whole deal.
Yeah. So
Okay.
for instance, if you are, I was thinking about this example. If you are in an article about the benefits of swimming for the health, for instance,
Hmm.
it, it could be. But I guess that it's better to say um, uh, to swim a good way to improve your health than swimming a good.
Yes, that's the idea, Michael. That's it.
Okay.
Exactly. You got it.
Okay. Okay.
Overall, all right, that's the idea. And basically, that's a very good yardstick, a good guideline in those cases where you can use either, uh, when you have the option to use either. Okay, so subject or complement, we can go by that kind of rule with confidence. However, now it gets more of a pain in the neck because as the object of a sentence, and in fact, frankly, this is the position where we most commonly will see gerunds and infinitives as the object of a sentence. It is more difficult. Um, Sometimes they're interchangeable with very little difference in the meaning, in the general meaning. Um, Again, there is that notion, just as we just discussed, of the infinitive being more abstract and the gerund being more physical. Usually, the the problem is the what decides your use of either is the main verb in the sentence. Some main verbs, um, some main verbs will require a gerund. For example, he enjoys swimming. Enjoy has to have you can't use an infinitive. I enjoy to swim. I enjoy to read. Sounds totally strange, and we would never do it. And conversely, the verb want um, requires an infinitive. He wants swimming doesn't make any sense at all. All right, it sounds very, very strange. Um, Now, and here's the to make it worse, to make matters worse, categorizing these main verbs is next to impossible because to enjoy, to like, very similar words. They have basically the same meaning. However, even though they have the same meaning, he likes swimming, he likes to swim. I can use either. But when I use the word enjoy, I can only use a gerund. Um, Sometimes it works. Wants, desires. He desires to swim, he desires swimming. No, desire also requires an infinitive. Sometimes it's just totally unreliable. Sometimes we can kind of categorize types of verbs. Sometimes it does not work at all because verbs that are exact synonyms work differently with gerunds and infinitives. It's a real pain in the neck, really.
So it's a good example to that the thing that we were
Yeah,
speaking before, that sometimes it's better to
practical
learn.
experience.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
to, to,
yeah,
to learn in a more natural way.
true.
Okay.
Absolutely. And now I've explained why. Okay, that's right. But we can learn a few collocations. Why not? Some verbs are followed by gerunds as objects. All right. She suggested going to a movie. Suggested. Recommend is a verb, a main verb I frequently hear incorrectly. She recommended to go to the movies is wrong. You should use a gerund after suggest, recommend. Um, okay, but another similar word, advise. Michael, what would you use after advise?
She advised to go.
Yeah, she advised us to go. Yeah, yeah. Um, right. So very similar words, but there you go. Keep, all right. Mary keeps talking. After keep, definitely keep. Mary keeps to talk. Really sounds totally bizarre. No one would understand you. Strongly, very strongly requires a gerund. Hello, Ken. Welcome, welcome.
Yes, hello.
Hello. Welcome to the class.
Thank you.
Um, okay, Ken, we're talking gerunds and infinitives today. And we're getting to the point that some verbs require one or the other, and it's often a choice of the specific verb. Even if you have two verbs with the same meaning, it's not always helpful. Okay, we already talked about wants. Wants requires an infinitive. She wants to go to the movie. Mary needs to talk about her problems. Okay, needs, well, okay. Well, we're saying it requires infinitives. Here's a problem. Here's another problem. All right. We also have colloquial expressions, pardon me, special cases where there's kind of an exception. Mary needs talking to. Ken, what does this mean? Mary needs talking to.
Mary needs talking to something.
Yeah, well, that's the whole
No,
colloquial
to
phrase.
needs
Mary needs,
talking to you or somebody.
nope, end of the sentence. I have an exclamation point. I've ended the sentence. That's it.
Uh, Maybe needs to talking to something very strongly.
Yeah. Somebody needs to speak to Mary. Somebody needs to discipline Mary, is what this means. Okay. Mary, maybe, whatever.
I
Maybe
see.
she's a bad employee. Maybe she's a child. Um, okay. Somebody needs to discipline her. Um,
And maybe if you are in a group and if there is only one person who is speaking all the time and Mary is quiet all the and you can use this expression too to say that Mary needs talking to. No, no.
no,
In this case, it's
no.
Mary needs to talk.
Yeah, it's a colloquial expression with a very specific meaning. Frequently, you might see this. Mary needs a good talking to. The idea is Mary needs discipline. Somebody needs to yell at Mary, basically, for whatever reason. She needs to be disciplined, and that's
No.
specifically what it means. Now, look, Michael, just to further mess things up, we've basically what we've done here. We've got an article. We've got an adjective. We got the gerund here. Okay. Oh yeah. Before we used a gerund, the new sitting. Okay. So apparently, all right, it's perfectly normal to have an adjective in front of the gerund. All right. Talking to, a talking to, is actually a phrasal noun. So it's a little weird here. Maybe that's why it's okay to do this. This is actually kind of a compound noun, a phrase, or a noun that's a phrase. It's a talking to is a noun that means basically a scolding. Okay, Mary needs a scolding. Well, there we go. Again, I can use I can use okay. Mary needs talking to. Mary needs a scolding, or Mary needs scolding.
I don't understand this last word.
Scolding?
What?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Scolding.
Scolding is when parents yell at their children, discipline their children. All right. You cannot leave your house in the middle of the winter with no hat and no gloves, young man. You need to put on your hat and gloves before you leave the house. That's a scolding. All right. You,
It's
yeah,
yes, an everyday thing for me.
yeah, yeah, yeah. If you have kids, then yes, this is an everyday thing. That's right. Okay. Congratulations. We made it through part 1, such as it is. Part 2. The class is so small, we can move through this faster. All right. Let's look at some other special aspects. Gerunds can often be modified with possessive forms. Possessive pronouns, obviously, his, her, its, or John's, Mary's, the machine's. Okay. This makes it clear who or what is performing the action. For example, I enjoyed their singing. All right, they were singing. Okay. Um, obviously, okay. Well, okay, the main verb, enjoy, we have to use a gerund. We're stuck with it. No sense overanalyzing it. That it is what it is. She understood his saying no to the offer. She understood his saying no. Uh, uh, okay. All right. Understand. There's another one. I don't believe you can use an infinitive at all. All right. Kind of a weird construction. You guys understand this okay? She understood his saying no to the offer. It's kind of weird because it breaks up into phrases and there's no punctuation, so it seems a little strange.
Maybe this means she understand the reason why he said no.
That's exactly what it means.
Okay.
Exactly. That's it. All right, great. Sam resented Debbie's coming late to the dinner. Okay. Again, we resent
Resent? I don't
doing
know.
something. Resent. If you okay, well, that's a little bit of a difficult vocabulary word to explain. If you resent something, okay. Well, I can give you an example. All right. If you work really, really hard, you work 2 jobs so that your wife can go to medical school and become a doctor, and so you spend 8 years working really hard to support her and her education, and then after 8 years she graduates medical school and she divorces you, you would resent her. I guarantee it. Okay.
Okay.
All right. You hold something against someone. Frequently, resentment, the noun form, um, is held. You never say it. If somebody is angry with somebody for a specific reason, but you don't ever express that resentment. It could be expressed, but frequently it's not. It's a common thing. You resent somebody, you're angry at somebody, you feel cheated by somebody, or yeah, is kind of the idea. All right, we discussed the machines being broken. All right, the idea that you discussed the idea that the machine is broken. Right. Uh, okay. Discuss is another main verb. We need to have a gerund. I need to discuss to work on the project. No, I need to discuss working on the project. Okay, all the many confusing verbs that have to do with speaking, discuss, shout, argue, say, tell, speak, whatever. Just as they can be confusing because you don't know if they take an object noun, say to her or tell her, discuss with her, you need to have a preposition. You can't just, you can discuss her, talk about her. Okay, it's very confusing. We don't know if they take an object or not. Same with, so for that reason, and actually often, sometimes it's difficult to know if you take it takes a gerund or an infinitive. So, for example, say. All right. Yeah. Okay. All right. She said. All right. Is it possible to have either a gerund or infinitive? Is it possible? Michael, after said?
He said,
And not as a quote. Okay.
yeah.
It's possible as a quote because we can use either one as a subject now, right?
I can guess one example. She said, use. She said, I can guess one example. No, with a gerund, but no, with infinitive. She said to. She said.
Well, all right, okay. Look, she said to go home.
Yeah.
Okay.
She said go. She said going home. No.
She said going home was a bad idea. Yeah, why not?
Yes.
Aha. This is doubly confusing because you know, she said to me. We need to say to when we're using it. We can't use she said me. Doesn't make any sense, right? As an object noun. So this is very strange that we can actually use a gerund or an infinitive after said. Very weird, honestly. But the fact is we can. It's another weird exception. I don't know, double exception both ways for infinitives and gerunds and for the fact that it's an intransitive verb. Okay, anyway. Let's see if you guys can come up with a sentence here using again a pronoun. They're singing, he's saying, Debbie's coming. Using these examples, let's see if we can come up with an example. Ken, you want to try it first?
Okay. What should I do?
Okay, you're trying to use a gerund with a pronoun. All right. He's singing, Mary's dying, her screaming, the dog's barking, like that.
We enjoyed teachers talking.
Okay. Okay. There's one problem with this. You know what it is? It has nothing to do with verbs or the gerunds or anything.
Yeah.
You need an article.
A teachers. Or the teacher.
Probably the in this case. It would probably be specific. You would probably know what teacher you're actually talking about here. All right. Michael, you want to give it a try?
Using the same verb, for instance, I can enjoy Donald Trump's speaking.
Okay. Oh boy. Can I just write the Donalds?
No.
Yeah, yeah, come on. The Donalds. Enjoy
Yeah.
the Donalds speaking.
Can
Get
we use that in this case?
yeah. Yeah. Okay, the Donald part. All right, that's just me being a wiseacre. Okay. I'm just kind of kidding around
Yeah,
because
because this the is linked with the speaking or with the no.
yeah, and it's a nickname for Donald Trump, the Donald.
Ah, okay,
He-
okay.
Basically to make fun of him as, he's so important. The Donald. He gets his own definite article, the Donald, because of course there's many Donalds. It's a joke basically when we say the Donald. We saw the Donald on the news. Oh my gosh, the Donald won in New Hampshire today. I can't believe it. What what are the? I'm so glad I don't live in America anymore. They're crazy. All right. Anyway, number 8. Some verbs are followed by a noun plus an infinitive. In some situations, the noun is required. In other situations, the noun is optional. All right, we're going to have to look at examples to figure out what we're talking about here. All right, the police ordered. Okay, police, subject, noun. Ordered is our main verb. Um, the man, here's our noun that we've added to stop. We have to have the noun here. We cannot say the police ordered to stop. All right, and it makes sense because we can't use this verb without an object noun. He ordered pizza. He ordered his dinner from the waitress. It's just impossible to do this. Use this verb without using an object noun. So in this case, here's a case where we have no choice but to use a noun in between or before, rather, the infinitive. Uh, is it possible, Michael? Is it possible to use order with a gerund?
In this case, I don't think so. The police ordered the man stopping. No.
Okay. The police ordered stopping without the man? No. Okay. He ordered swimming to be banned in the. Yeah, I guess so. He ordered swimming to be banned in the pool. Okay, I guess it is possible. So in this case, absolutely not. And if we're gonna use any infinitive, you always have to have a noun before it.
The doctor ordered swimming to improve
Yeah.
her his
Okay.
health. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. The doctor's orders, common. All right. Good. Okay. It's interesting. You can really play around with these and think about these. All right. She asked to leave. The noun is optional. She asked us to leave. She asked him to leave. Whatever. Okay. Either way, in this case. She asked leaving. She asked him leaving. No. And I believe ask is one of those speaking verbs. Okay. In this case, infinitive. It has to be infinitive. You cannot use a gerund with ask. Okay. Let's give this one a try, and then I think we're gonna call it a day right here. Well, I mean, we're gonna do a little gerunds infinitive quiz together in the last 10 minutes or so. But before we do that, let me see if you guys can make a sentence kind of demonstrating this main verb with a noun and then the infinitive. Okay. All right. I think I made Ken go first last time. So Michael, you can go first this time.
maybe using a different verb. As she proposed him to learn. We lose. We lost Oakley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I proposed Oakley to buy a new computer. It's quite strange to be so few students.
Maybe expire date is up to the student, I heard. So some student has already been expired.
Mm,
Yeah, maybe that's the reason.
because we have only some. Is the next week is the finish of this group class?
Probably, I
Yes.
think 90th, February 90th is my expire date, so
Yeah. So
yeah.
next week more or less. Yeah.
Right. So I'm taking classes as many as I can now.
Yeah. It's a good idea.
So some classes very few. Yeah, yesterday I took Holly's class. Yeah, like a private lesson, only one student.
Ooh,
Yeah.
lucky you.
But I don't know. Holly say maybe she might stop the class this time zone.
Yes.
Yeah. So because of the student, not so many student now.
I tried to follow her class last Saturday, I think, but at the at the end we didn't have class. Yeah.
So that do you know the similar site which prepared a group lesson?
I was
Right.
I tried to do the same. But, no,
Yeah, I'm
there,
searching
there,
about that.
there are some other places, but it's not the same. I don't find any place to do
Right. That,
group classes.
right. So in the past, I was subscribing another school that very similar to this system, but that school itself was closed. So yeah, after that I joined barbering. But maybe that's the problem. Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Oakley is here again.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hi,
Welcome.
guys.
Yes, hello.
Welcome.
Welcome back.
Welcome.
Hi. Thank you. Thank you. Apparently, my browser thought now would be the ideal time to close down and give me some updates.
That's annoying. Windows 10 closed automatically.
Yeah,
Yes.
great. Thank you. Uh, yeah, that's just not cool. Okay. Anyway, yeah. It's always the most inconvenient time, isn't it? It's always like, okay, all right. It's like that expression, when you lose something, it's always in the last place you look. What? Yeah, of course it is. Yeah, okay. Anyway, Michael, you and I were trying to work on something here.
Yes. I propose Oakley to buy a new computer, not to have more problems.
uh, okay.
I propose Oakley to buy a new computer.
Okay. New PC. I'll use a little slang here. Okay. I proposed. Okay. Now, first of all, one small mistake here, Michael. I proposed to Oakley.
Okay.
And that would be fine. I proposed to Oakley. You just need to have two with proposed. I proposed to Oakley to buy a new PC. Yes, that works, and that actually, basically, yeah, that's the idea. Okay. All right. Notice the difference. I asked him. I proposed to Oakley. I said to Oakley to buy a new PC. That you could do that. All right. Very good. Because You need to after propose. You can't just have an object noun. It's intransitive. Ken, you want to try it?
Yes. The teacher asked a question.
The teacher what? Asked
A,
a
a correction. Yeah, a correction.
question. Yeah.
Question. Yeah.
Where's the infinitive?
Infinitive? Oh, I need to. Okay, I misunderstood the
No,
question.
it's possible.
I
Teacher
need
asked a question to
to uh to
verb.
the students
Well, okay. To show the student.
to show the student.
Okay. How to do it.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. There. All right. Yes. All right. You've got a noun. Interesting construction. You got a noun between the main verb and the infinitive. That's it. All right. We got about 5 minutes or so. Let's do a little mini quiz here. Should take us about 5 minutes. Let's give it a try. Okay. Michael?
Dan enjoys science fiction. Learning. No, Dan enjoys
Well,
um, reading about.
okay. And you don't need about, just reading. Dan enjoys
Okay.
reading science fiction. Very good. After enjoys, you need a gerund. You cannot say Dan enjoys to read. So good job. Okay. Ken. Next.
Cheryl suggested to see a movie after work.
Okay. Is it possible to use a gerund?
Cheryl suggested seeing a movie after work. In my sense, it's strange. No?
It's a little strange. Cheryl
Yeah.
suggested calling. Suggested to. Yeah. Okay. Now, and sometimes it's very confusing because again, it's because of the main verb. Sometimes it's confusing because, well, because the English language is not static, it always changes. So, in fact, I have heard Cheryl suggested seeing a movie after work.
Mhm.
Frankly, if I really think about it deeply, I could probably remember when I was growing up that nobody ever did that. But, you know, in movies and TV, I have definitely heard it with a gerund, which I think means that maybe that co-location is changing, which makes it even more of a pain in the neck because it's not like it's static. Michael, try number 3.
I miss in the travel industry. Maybe I can get my old job back. Walking.
Mm-hmm. Yes, got to be a gerund. You can definitely an infinitive after the verb miss. Sounds really weird. It sounds way wrong. Okay, very good. Ken.
Where did you learn uh, learn Spanish? Was it? Okay. Where did you learn Spanish? Was it in Spain or in
Whatever, Latin America.
Latin America? I think.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
You don't necessarily need either for the sentence to make sense here. You're absolutely correct. You could just say, "Where did you learn Spanish?" But just imagine we're going to use the word speak,
Learn speaking. Okay.
but not speaking. Actually, it would have to be an infinitive here. You learn to swim. You learn to drive a car. Not you learn driving a car. Not you learn swimming. Never a gerund after learn. It's got to have an infinitive. Learn to whatever. Learn to play guitar. Okay. Michael?
Do you mind me to translate this letter. Do you mind me try?
Yeah.
Try
So,
to try.
do you remind me to
Yeah,
try? No, it's got to be a gerund.
trying.
Whoops,
Trying to. Yeah.
trying. Right. With this common, polite indirect question phrasing, which is quite common. Do you mind turning off the light? Do you mind closing the window? Do you mind dropping me off at the airport? Got to be a gerund. Right. Even using mind in another way. Okay. I wouldn't mind trying to do it. Whatever. I would. You can't. I don't mind. It's always going to be a gerund. Okay, Ken.
He asked Blank to the store manager. Uh, he asked me to no
Could
to
be
the me okay
or
asked
not.
me to the to s to s to speak okay to
There you
store
go.
manager.
Okay. And there we did this earlier with the noun in front of the infinitive. All right. But it could be without it. We don't need it. It's optional. If you remember with
Yeah,
at, it's
right.
optional. All right. Okay. Michael, number 7.
You've never mentioned it in Japan before. How long did you live there? But you've
So I
never mentioned it.
think the verb is live. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, infinitive or
Just,
gerund?
I think that could be infinitive. Mentioned to stay in Japan before.
You never mentioned to stay. No. It would
Stay,
have to. Sorry, but it would have to
being,
be. It would
living,
have to. It would have to be a gerund.
staying,
Yeah.
being.
Yeah. Being. Yeah. You never mentioned being in Japan. Yeah, any of these words would fit, but notice that, of course, they're all definitely gerunds. Okay, I'm afraid I have to get going now. I'm out of time, but again, I'll remind you if you're interested in learning more, join me basically 24 hours plus 23 hours from now in 2 days. Same
Today's
time.
okay.
Same time. All right, thanks a lot,
Okay.
guys.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Have a
Bye.
great
Bye.
day.